Hey guys, welcome back to the second part of our series on trademark and copyright. And today we have Bala Nadar from Startupwala. In the first part, we touched base on a lot of information around trademark, all the things that you need to know, how registering a trademark would benefit your brand, your blog, your business, anything that you can trademark, you should get trademark. It has a lot of benefits that we did touch base in the first part. And if you have not seen that or heard the first part of this podcast, go back and do check it out. I'll leave the link in the show notes or description. Now, in the second part, we'll be talking about copyright issues. And this is something a lot of bloggers or freelancer or even book author can connect to. Bala is all set to share some of his wisdom around copyright issue, how you can tackle those issues, what are understanding the nitty and gritty of copyright. And from there, we hope to add a lot of value today. So with that, let me welcome Bala. Hi, Bala.
Yeah, hi Harsh. Hi guys.
Bala, let's straight jump to the main thing. How is copyright different than trademark?
See, when we had discussed very widely as far as trademark is concerned, trademark and copyright like brothers and sisters. Trademark is like name of that particular person, and copyright is the brain of the person. So, as we discussed about, birth certificate is required for an individual to recognize himself and showcase his identity, which is like a trademark as far as business is concerned. So, identity of any business and the brain of or the intellectuality or the strategy of a particular business is copyright. Business or from legal angle, trademark actually protects the identity or the logo or the brand name or the company name of any business, and copyright protects the content or it protects the rights which are associated with books, art, musical formats, cinematographic films, sound recordings, and more of which involves a lot of brain-related activities. So these are all part of intellectual properties. So trademark is an intellectual property, copyright is also intellectual property, patent is also intellectual property. So copyright helps to protect the literary work, dramatic work, musical work, artistic work, and softwares and programming codes, work of architecture, cinematographic film, sound recording. So for all these artistic related activities, which requires a lot of research and application of mind, copyright is what comes into play.
For a book author or for a blogger, it's their book or the content or the words they have written that is something which should be copyrighted. Is that so?
Yes. So there are two parts. One is like you have a blog, which is like a well-researched blog for which you have spent a lot of time. You have a very unique way of narrating a particular story or certain thing. So it involves intellectual property. That needs to be protected. If that needs to be protected, it should be copyright. Second thing is when it comes to book presentation, and which is in comparison with a blog post, it's more exclusive, it's more exhaustive. So books have been conventionally a very important product to be copyrighted. A book, blog post, content, anything which you write, which is original work. There has to be a novelty involved in it. It should be original. It should not be inspired or copied, manipulated from any other source. So if that is so,
how does the copyright process works? Like I have my own content, my book. How do I go about copywriting it?
So you will have to submit a copy of that particular book, the entire transcript of that particular book, and based on that, there would be few documents which would be created by the trademark attorneys or the lawyers involved in copyright, which is consultants from Startupwala can help you out with all those documentation. So you'll have to take a print of those documents, sign. There can be multiple copies of a book has to be submitted. One has to get submitted. Couple of documents need to be submitted to copyright department. One copy has to be kept with the lawyer. So you'll have to give whatever that original content is there of that particular transcript has to be given.
Who is that copyright department that you mentioned? Is it some government body or what is it?
There is a dedicated government department which takes care of receiving the applications, checking those applications, examining them, and then found suitable, they issue the certificate. This entire process takes 6 to 8 months of time, which is much quicker than the trademark process.
And how much does it cost?
As I told you at the initial stage, copyright is for literary content, dramatic content, then artistic logo, monogram design. So there are different categories of copyright. So the government fees starts from 400 rupees and goes up to 9,000 rupees, depends upon content to content. Overall, you may require around 8,000 rupees to 15,000 rupees, including the lawyer's fees.
I believe like all the movie producer or movie writer, they usually get their script copyrighted.
Cinematographic content is concerned, it gets divided into several parts. So as you might have seen in the movie, you have dialogue writing by somebody, directing that particular movie by somebody, choreographers and music composers are different. So there are so many different parts of artistic content is involved in it. All this has to be separately copyrighted, as well as one particular component, it should be copyrighted. For example, music composer is there. The original ownership of that particular creation would always lie with the composer. However, commercial manipulation of that particular music, selling it to the wider audience in the hands of the audio producing company, like in terms of India, Tips or Z or other service providers.
So that's interesting, because I always wonder like why they publish this 3 minutes of credit. It's so boring and such a waste of time. But now I know why it is so important. How do somebody go about buying copyrights? Like let's say if I'm working with somebody who has composed a music for my podcast or for my videos, how do I go about buying the copyright?
So it is like buying any product or services. It will involve certain contracts, certain documentations, payment of fees which is been mutually decided, and then transferring a certificate which is owned by a particular company to somebody else. It's all documentation process, nothing very different from buying any property.
My understanding, like especially for we are in the gig economy where like a lot of people actually work with freelancers and all. In that case, even if a simple email could do the work of like.
This is a very in-depth question. This cannot be answered in one way or the other. But the point here is, if there is strategic content which has been created, which has been transferred to somebody, and without your permission, without the permission of the creator, if somebody is manipulating it, misusing it, he can take action. And that email can be a proof of that particular transmission. Email can be used as a proof of transmission. However, it does not qualify as a content.
What about the copyright for the bloggers or the website owners? And especially the first question that we asked in the trademark series is, what about the copyright of the design that any entrepreneur get for their website? How do they ensure that that is protected?
We discussed in detail about trademark on other podcasts. But trademark and copyright, as I told you, brothers and sisters, they always creep in one or the other way. When you have a book, that book name, if you want to protect, for example, Shiv Kera's You Can Win. You Can Win has to be trademarked. And the inside content along with this particular You Can Win has to be copyrighted.
How does it help in distribution, Bala? Somebody illegally distributing my book, how can I stop somebody from...
Copyright is a very, very strong mechanism, Here, you can directly go to police and file an FIR against somebody. In trademark, it is a civil infringement, basically. In copyright, it is a criminal infringement. It is a cognizable offense, basically. So somebody who has infringed your content or copied your book and distributed without your permission, then you can file an FIR. There can be a criminal case filed wherein he may be sent to jail for 6 months to 3 years. There is a straightforward penalty which is involved, probably starting with 50,000 rupees up to 2 lakh rupees. This gives a teeth to implementation of copyright. Somebody's lifetime research may be involved in coming up with a book, so that has to be protected as rigorously as any other immobile property is concerned.
Just to get a complete understanding of this, if somebody is distributing somebody's book illegally, that person an FIR can be filed against that person, and person can actually make them pay the compensation as well. Is that so?
Yes, absolutely. Straightforward penalty which is mentioned in the law is starting from 50,000 to 2 lakh. However, there are different kind of damages which can be imposed upon the infringer depending upon what kind of benefit he has received out of such kind of malified distribution or wrong or false or fraudulent distribution. If you can showcase that somebody has benefited for 10 lakh rupees or 10 crore rupees, that person has to pay damages of 10 crore or 10 lakh. It all depends upon how court gets convinced about it. However, this factor is a very important factor. Plus, that person has to pay statutory costs also. Now, involving a lawyer, going to court, filing a suit, everything involves cost. That cost can also be recovered from the person who is misusing the content.
How somebody who is like, new to the online world and by mistake or unknowingly, innocently, infringing somebody's copyright, what they can do to make sure safeguard themselves from such situation?
You must know the rule of the law. Rule of the country. So law of the country is a first lesson or first understanding any person should have. It involves literate, illiterate, everybody. So there is no excuse that I was not knowing this. Second thing is, when you want to become a professional in any particular field, may it be you want to become a doctor, you want to become a blogger, it is a profession. We have to be knowing the basics of that particular profession. So when you are reading a particular book, writing a commentary about that particular book, or you are reading a content of a decade-old person like you, Harsh Agrawal's content, they vary from so many different facets. Today, whatever you write, maybe you will not write anything which is not unique. If somebody who is a newcomer and he is copying the entire blog of yours and putting it across, he knows that he is doing something wrong. If at all he wants to do that, he has to give a credit to you. That is the basic thing which somebody can do. So a blogger must always give credit in some or the other way to the original creator of it. That is one thing. And if that original creator says, no, you cannot use this in the manner in which you are using it, then you have to remove the content and apologize to them. It's a basic courtesy, basic thing which you have to take care of. This is second thing. Third aspect of it is proving infringement is very difficult. When I'm saying this, we should not look at law as law. It is an enabler of business. So when we think about that, yes, a particular registration can help you protect yourself and do stuff. At the same time, being a real person, I should also give you a practical aspect of it. So that's very important. Otherwise, many a times people get misled by bookish information. So when it comes to content, as we discussed earlier, you are in a profession. Blogging is a very, very important artistic profession. So when you are involving in creating a original content, which is very important for you to monetize, you have to keep record of certain things. You create a separate folder or a file or anything wherein you say that I came to this particular idea by researching this. Then I did all this research. These are the different pieces of research. And then I came up with this outline of this particular content. And then I made this exclusive report on something, or I created this particular book. So if you are able to have all these items somewhere protected, not only for today, for at least 5 years, 10 years, it lies in your computer or in some drive somewhere. So tomorrow if somebody copies it and showcases that this is my original content, this will help you to counter that particular argument. And the very important part of copyright is copyright gets created the moment that creation happens. So law is only to give some kind of a practical perspective to that particular copyright. So copyright is by nature, copyright comes into existence. So the moment you do a research for a content, that copyright is already existing, but only you should be able to prove it. You cannot just say that somebody is copying it.
I'll add few things here, and because I think it's a very vital, very critical topic that we are discussing. It can be understood in a lot of ways. So please take it with a pinch of salt, this whole discussion. And I know, Bala, you also blog. There are a few things that, I want you plus all the listeners to know that would be really helpful. So online, there is a thing called Wayback Machine. So Wayback Machine actually what does, it creates a timestamp of all the pages of a website. And most of the time, it works. Few times it does not work.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
So that could often be used to see if somebody is saying like it's my work, basically compare the timestamp to see if that is your work or not. I know a lot of new products are coming in blockchain industry to promote, the original work and ensure that the copyright owner can say like it's my work. But again, that is still in beta and something I would announce more when it is actually launched on a wider basis. Here's the thing, the summary is like whenever you are, citing somebody else's work, even like taking a quote or even copying the complete article, anything, even using a video, do give credits. Credits are something which actually, it's a very nice gesture to tell somebody that, hey, I'm using somebody else's work. Your audience would appreciate you. And even if you're doing it on your blog, your email newsletter, and especially on social media, do give credits. It's going to help you a lot in the longer run to earn a good karma. I mean, even though it's a very notional thing because we are talking law, but it actually helps you to earn the trust of people. And I believe like it's Bala's word, like, the trust gap is something that one should fill foremost to do a business.
I think you have researched about me. You have read my blogs and stuff. So
Bala, I truly, when I invite anybody in this conversation, I do my due diligence. I make sure that I add a lot of value. So, it's definitely an honor you are here and you shared so much of insights with our audience.
I wanted to ask you a few questions. And before that, as you said, good karma and things would come up. Now, law and karma is one and the same. Let me tell you this. Law is technically written down social philosophy. That's it. If you know basics about philosophy, basics about nature, law already is there in that. It is only technically written down. For example, if you take a technology, somebody may understand technology, some guy might not understand it. But it is an outcome of some kind of principle which is there in the nature. The same way, law is also technically written social philosophy. So when you follow the best practices of nature, best practices of common sense, you always follow law in the right sense. That's the last bite which I want to give you. And moreover, I want to understand, Harsh, now you have been in this particular industry for more than a decade now. I think you might have come across nuances, which is like n number of incidences, situations, good, bad, ugly, everything. I want you to narrate some situation where as a very newcomer, you might have faced some kind of issues, and how did you come out of it?
So there are few situations. One is like, it's very common, especially when your content is being read by millions of people, that somebody will copy your content. Now, fewer times people copy the content because, they really admire your content and they're basically creating an archive for themselves, and their intention is not to hurt you or harm you. Fewer instances, there are people who actually just see like, okay, this website is making money, so, let me just copy their content and I would put AdSense or something and I would make the same money. Now that hurts the business. There are a few ways, simple ways that anybody can protect themselves online. And the simplest way is Google has this thing called Google DMCA. Using Google DMCA, one can simply Google like, hey, I'm the original copyright owner of this video, of this content, and this person has copied my content. Google have their mechanism to check who's the original owner, and they will penalize the other website, other pages. They will remove it from the Google search, and it's kind of penalty actually. So it's bad for their business.
So for the audiences, I would want to say DMCA is the Digital Millennium Copyright Act of 2000, which is passed in the US, and Google follows this particular act. This act forces Google to remove the links or the websites who are copying from others. I'm happy that Harsh brought this up. I had this back of the mind, but I missed to say this. So Digital Millennium Copyright Act, there is a subscription-based website which helps you to find out where all your original content has been copied in other websites. So I think Harsh might be having an article on it.
So there are like videos and article on this on ShoutMeLoud. So basically I'll leave the link in the show notes or description. One can read more about it from there. So that's one way to protect. Half of the time, like just shoot the email to the guy, hey dude, like you're copying my content, please don't do that. And yes, people are good, like, people are usually, they just do it innocently, and you ask them, they'll probably add a backlink to your website, which is also good, or you can just ask them to remove the content, whatever works. So this is how it works. As long as it's not hurting the business, everything is good. But when it hurts your work, your business, credibility, definitely take help of the law, and that's why law is there.
And Startupwala is there.
Startupwala is definitely there. Before, in the last 2 minutes, Bala, I'd like to touch just 2 questions. Okay, what are your future plans for Startupwala? Where do you see it in next 10 years?
I have been in this business for last 10 years. I have seen so many transformations happening in the industry as well as commonly in the startup ecosystem. I strongly believe, and Startupwala believes, that India can become entrepreneurial capital of the world in coming decade. And some of the other way, Startupwala wants to serve this ecosystem, the startup ecosystem, to an extent that it enables them to conduct their business in a very structured manner, in a very confident manner, with company incorporation services, compliance services, as well as trademark and copyright. If there are 6 crore small businesses which are unorganized businesses in India, if they get converted into an organized structure, it will immensely boost the economy. If you want to travel 10 miles, 20 miles, you cannot go by walking or through a cycling. You have to have that kind of a transportation medium. In the same manner, the structure through which you conduct business is also very, very important. So we are at that particular mission, and our decade journey is a living example that if you desire something, you can definitely achieve that. So we have helped people all across India to simply go there. On few clicks, you can avail these services, which were perceived as very difficult and complex items. Now that is possible. So in coming years, next month we are launching a web application and mobile app, which would be AI equipped. Conversational UI would be there. So whatever questionnaires and mundane activities which happen today by just typing things and asking questions, we want to convert that into a conversational kind of thing, and which partly has been done right now. Video-based explanations of difficult items, like now Harsh is doing this particular podcast. This is equivalent to reading an entire book on copyright or trademark, which probably the crux of it has been collected here. As an organization, we want to convert India into an entrepreneurial hub. Then only India becomes an economic superpower, and we would be living in a very stable and sustainable country. So this is our mission, and we want all the community members, people like Harsh, to help us that wherever there is a possibility of we reaching out to the nook and corner of this country, we all together should be able to reach out there.
It's beautiful, Bala, and I really wish from the bottom of my heart that you achieve your goal and India should become the entrepreneur capital of the world. That would be amazing. One last thing, like where somebody can follow you on which social platform, or do you have a blog where somebody can see your, follow your work?
So first thing is startupwala.com is the website name. Blog is already there. I'm not as savvy as any blogger would be, but we do post blogs. But I'm very active on LinkedIn. You can connect me personally on LinkedIn. And if you require any service, you can go and punch in the website and you see the magic. Entire inquiry form which is there, that is connected backend, great CRM systems and SaaS platform. So the moment you punch in for any service, you will receive a consultant's name, photograph, email, SMS, everything within that submit button. We would come up, if Harsh desires, we will first showcase our web application and its benefit to the bloggers via a separate series, wherein you can do everything at one particular platform. You can come and register your company, you can trademark your products and services, you can do your compliances, you can do your HR practices there, document creation, storing it, as well as accounting. The entire ecosystem we are trying to cover. Probably with this beta version which would come into next month, we are one step going ahead to easing this entire process and reaching out to us. So reaching out to me, connecting through LinkedIn is the best option.
You can find Bala on LinkedIn with Bala Nadar, and I'll leave his LinkedIn profile link in the show notes, or if you're watching it on YouTube, I'll leave it in the description.
There are a couple of YouTube videos which has been published. One of them is going, I will not say viral, but it is steadily growing. Within a month's time, 55,000 or more views have been there, wherein I talk about how to make India an economic superpower in next 10 years. 10 years looks like a very small time, but if we desire, you, me, each one of us, we can take India to our next level. And how to do that? There is a 50 minutes video on it. I would want all of you to watch it, give your comments, suggestions. My email ID also I can give you right away, bala@startupwala.com. So I would want, if at all you are interested in knowing the mission of Startupwala, to watch this video. And I think I'm going to be connected with Harsh and your community coming days. Thank you for all this.
Thank you, Bala, for joining today for this conversation. And guys, you can always contact Bala at bala@startupwala.com. If you have any question or anything that you still need an answer with, you can directly ask to Bala, or you can drop me an email at harsh@shoutmeloud.com with your question. Well, it was very eventful recording, Bala, and I hope it reaches out to the right audience.
Thank you, Harsh.
Just a reminder for our listener, this whole conversation is also on YouTube and also on our podcast. Now, if you know somebody who can actually get benefited by listening to our talk on trademark and copyright, do share it with them. You never know how this is going to change their life and benefit them in the future. With that, thank you for tuning in, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. This is Harsh.